Hey everyone, so Pokemon has been a worldwide phenomenon since its release in the mid to late 90s and has been a juggernaut through various mediums including television series, animated films, video games, and of course the recent very popular Pokemon Go mobile app. Now, just a few years ago, it was announced that a Detective Pikachu live action film, would be in production. Now, this is based on the very popular Japanese video game for the Nintendo 3DS of the same name, and of course, Ryan Reynolds would be voicing Pikachu, which a lot of people didn't really know how to take that news, me as well. But now, just a few days ago, actually just today, now technically a few days ago or yesterday, whenever you're watching this, the first trailer for the live action film has been released, and I've got to say it blew my mind. So first up, just a little background about the movie. Obviously, Ryan Reynolds is going to be voicing Detective Pikachu here, but the film is also going to be starring Justice Smith, who was in the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, aka Jurassic World 2 film, as well as Netflix's series The Get Down, which unfortunately they canceled. Now, the film also is going to be directed by Rob Letterman, who's directed Shark Tale, Monsters vs. Aliens, 2015's Goosebumps, which starred Jack Black, as well as the Captain Underpants movie that came out in 2017. Now, he definitely has a background in animation / live action, so I think this is going to be a good fit for him in terms of blending those two styles. And based on the trailer, it actually works really well. Ryan Reynolds, of course, he's going to be brilliant. I think this is kind of his back to family movie type of thing, but still a little bit gritty. We'll get into that. And of course, Justice Smith, who I liked a lot in both Jurassic World and The Get Down a lot. I think that he's going to do a really good job as well. I don't really know if he's going to be like that scared kind of character like he was in Jurassic World. Maybe something a little bit different. I'm hoping for a little bit more of a confident character, but we'll see. Now let's go ahead and talk about the film itself, and I think the best place to start is the visuals. Now, when this movie was announced, I was 100% expecting something along the lines of a Space Jam or a Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Not that there's anything wrong with those styles of film. I just expected a little bit more of a cartoonish type of vibe, 2D maybe, animation style, maybe with a little bit of 3D shadowing to it. But this completely blew my mind. Now, those films have a great cult following, but based on the look of this film alone, I'm absolutely ecstatic. In terms of the Pokemon themselves, let's go ahead and start with Pikachu. Obviously, he's the main character. But a lot of them have great facial features and emotions that really match the personality types of each character. Pikachu makes several faces, whether it be sad, sort of an angry, sarcastic Ryan Reynolds type of face. He makes a ton of different emotional expressions, which I think is actually something that I was really looking forward to the most in seeing something like this. And I actually didn't even expect it to turn out so well. But it just has such a great visual look to it. We get a lot of great visual looks of not only Pikachu himself. There's an angry, like, furry Jigglypuff, which actually looks kind of cool. There's a Charizard we get a great shot of. We get to see a little bit of a line of like Bulbasaurs. There's a Mr. Mime great sequence towards the end. We get a little peek at like a Psyduck. There's a bunch of different Pokemon that look so realistic, and I was just completely blown away because when you think about Pokemon, ever since I was a little kid when this series came out and debuted, collected the cards, played the games, I actually still play the games on one of my Nintendos today. But I think that one of the biggest things was capturing the characters themselves, which everybody knows and loves and really wants to actually have that as a real life thing. Yeah, we have animals, but these are like animals plus, is the best way I can put it, is what Pokemon are. So being able to see what that is going to be like interacted in a real life scenario, or maybe not a scenario, but the real world, and have that sort of live action interaction, I think is going to be one of the best things I've seen in a long time. And although I do applaud a lot of the visual styles of the Pokemon themselves, there is a little bit of concern. There are some scenes where it doesn't look quite so polished. Mainly the scene with the line or sort of march of Bulbasaurs that we see. It doesn't look quite done, or at least quite as realistic as I would hope it would have looked like, in comparison to what like the facial expressions of Pikachu are and things like that. But then again, the movie doesn't come out for another like 4 or 5 months, so hopefully they can polish it up a little bit and make it look a little bit more realistic and add that little bit more of depth to the world that they are currently building. And speaking of the world, let's not downplay the world that has been built here. Now, the main story of Detective Pikachu is going to be taking place in a city called Rhyme City. Now, this is the city that was actually in the video game as well, so kudos to them for making that connection, not just going with some random city. But I feel like they made it an actual living, breathing city that feels like it's actually been lived in, and people actually work there and actually have to do activities, and their Pokemon are just sort of along with that journey. You can see it in the various aspects. It's a much more of a noir city, but it also sort of have like this Japanese sort of feel to it during the daytime that we get to see a very few shots of, but mainly the noir style night shots, kind of, I don't want to say Blade Runner, but it does have very much like that market feel to it in certain aspects to it, especially with a lot of the neon that they show. But I feel like it feels realistic, and kudos to them as well for building this world out. And for example, there's a scene where Justice Smith's character has like a train ticket, and it's like you see his bedroom. He has like a Pikachu ears headboard, and he's got like all sorts of Pokemon posters and about like different championships and different leagues. There's like a Squirtle wanted poster type of thing, or like a Squirtle missing type of poster, which I think was really cool. But like all the little details that they have scattered throughout just this one little scene, maybe not necessarily the world itself. There's like some things for like Jigglypuff, like a karaoke type of bar situation, which I think is kind of cool, especially since she sings. Just a lot of things that I think that they really built this world into something that, again, feels lived in, and I think that's going to make the difference with this movie as opposed to other ones. Very similar to like a Roger Rabbit. Even though they were 2D cartoon characters, the world felt lived in. Like their characters, the animated characters, were very much interacted with the real life world. And I feel like that blend is really what's going to make the difference and make this movie go from being okay or good to possibly being great. Now, in terms of story of the movie, it looks like it's going to have some dark undertones, which I think of a lot of the adult Pokemon fans are going to like, but it's also going to have some of that sort of classic cheesiness, kid friendliness to it that's going to appeal to kids as well. Best example of this is some of the jokes that maybe Ryan Reynolds' Pikachu has, and especially that big sort of ending scene with Mr. Mime. I think that's more the grab and pull in for kids, as it is kind of silly and can have fun. But essentially the story of the movie is that Justice Smith's character has a father who's a detective who goes missing. He helps investigate. He's going to investigate his disappearance with the help of course, Detective Pikachu, and they're going to go off on this little adventure. Now, this is really going to be kind of interesting, and how, I don't know if they're going to go outside of Rhyme City, if it's going to take place primarily in Rhyme City. If we get to see other regions, like maybe the original Kanto region, things like that, I think that'd be pretty cool, but we'll have to see when the movie comes out. Now, in terms of Pikachu, you're probably asking, why is Ryan Reynolds voicing Pikachu? Well, Justice Smith's character actually is able to understand him. We don't know why as of yet. We don't know if there's some sort of weird connection between the two, if Justice Smith just hits his head and he's delusional the entire time. But there's kind of this great comedy moment in the trailer where Justice Smith is like, why do I understand you talking? And he's like, nobody ever hears me talking. They just hear me saying Pika Pika. And like, he talks to a girl and she just sort of understands the Pika Pika, Pikachu's sort of standard voice, which is actually really funny. And I'm really intrigued to find out if he's going to be able to interact with other Pokemon this way. Most likely not. It seems like it's very centered on his connection with Pikachu, but I think it'd be really interesting to see other Pokemon, because the only one I've seen talk has been the Meowth from the original 150 series, the one that was teamed up with Team Rocket. He was the only one, but other people could understand him. So how this dynamic is going to work, that should be really interesting to find out when the movie comes out. And now we come to my biggest concern of the film, which is sort of my connection with it. And I don't mean to say that my connection is different than anyone else's. It's just that me, as a person who grew up with the original series, knows best the original 150 Pokemon. Now, that is on full display here, but there are other Pokemon from expanded versions of the series. So in total, as of 2018, there are over 800 different Pokemon. Now, what has me concerned about this movie is that they're going to start involving much later generations of Pokemon that we are not familiar with, the original fans are not familiar with. And the reason that concerns me is that we don't really know much about these characters and sort of their backgrounds. But that also kind of makes it exciting, because I won't know what to expect. And if I don't know what to expect, then I'm going to have a lot more fun with it. If I know what's going to be coming, then it may not be so exciting. Yeah, we know Charizard breathes fire, Pikachu has electric powers, but other Pokemon, maybe I don't necessarily know their powers, maybe sort of like the basic stuff, but I think that sort of interaction and having a lot more Pokemon in the world itself, maybe if they keep it more background type of stuff, will again add to the depth and the overall lived in world that is this Pokemon world that they're building. And I think that that would be a lot of fun to see those sort of minor characters and sort of get to know them in a way that I would be interested in learning more about them, either playing the games or just going online, playing more Pokemon Go. Whatever it is, this can be the stepping stone to the original characters or the original Pokemon and the people who grew up with that, having that connection now with those newer Pokemon if we fell out of touch. Like, for instance, I tend to be more of a original 150 series type of guy. I prefer the original 150. Everything beyond that, I don't necessarily ignore, but I would prefer to stay with my 150, the ones that I know and am familiar with. But again, this is an expansive world, different regions, tons of different Pokemon, things to learn, and I think that it would be fun to learn about some new things along the way with the rest of this series. So I think that would be ideal if they could expand it and expand my wanting to know more about this Pokemon universe. But other than that one concern, I am super excited about this movie. Way more excited than I actually ever anticipated myself to be, and I cannot wait to see it for its anticipated release date of May 10th, 2019. So essentially those are my thoughts on the Pokemon Detective Pikachu film due to come out next year. But now it's really your turn. I really want to know what you guys have to think about this trailer. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? How do you feel? Do you feel like there's going to be enough Pokemon? Do you think it didn't look real enough? Do you think that they should have not even attempted this movie? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section down below. I would love to hear some more thoughts about this movie. Maybe if it does well enough, they can expand it, do more than just Detective Pikachu. I think this could actually turn into a great series. And really get to know the world of Pokemon all over again. Disney's doing all of their animated stuff as live action now. Why not Pokemon try and take that leap and sort of join the fold and be able to have this immersive world that you want to be real and actually live in? But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section down below. Also, I'm going to leave a link to the trailer in the description, so if you have not yet seen it, be sure to go check that out and then come right back, let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear it. But other than that, that's all I have on Detective Pikachu. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.